Okay, in this video we'll show you how we can machine the cutouts using the 3DCAM Mill PRO product. So we've imported the model into the system, so as we can see we need to change the orientation of the part. So to do that we go into Geometry, move Rotate, and then choose the item we want to rotate, press Enter to accept the selection, and then give it the axes and the angle that we need to rotate it by. So in this case it'll be going around by 90 degrees. So that's moved the model round. Now we need to reset the Z0 so that it's at the top of the job. So to do that we Milling tab, set origin, the X and Y can stay in the center of the part, but the Z can be maximum. So that moves the model round so that it's in the correct orientation with Z0 at the top of the job. Now when we come to do the roughing operation on this, we're only going to want to machine the cutouts there. So to limit the machining we need to use 2D containment, and 2D containment needs sketches. So to create sketches from those faces, if we right click and say pick faces, and then move over the face which is highlighted, right click, say make a sketch from the face. Now the sketch object is placed in the objects window here, but as you can see there's two sketches that go to make that up, the circular sketch and the outside shape. So we need to split those apart just for the sake of tidiness. So if we split the sketch, get two sketches, then we can just delete the one that we don't. Then we do the same thing here. Split the sketch and then delete the bit we don't want. Right click, make a sketch from the face. Right click, split the sketch, choose the sketch that we want to delete, right click, delete. So as you can see you use the right click quite a lot. Okay, so we've got the sketches there that we need to limit the machining to. So now let's do the roughing operation on that. So under the milling ribbon we use advanced machining. Here we can set the speeds and feeds as we need to, and one thing we probably do want to use is rapid track. The tool we want to use, obviously these are just a few tools that I've got loaded into this library. You can make up your own library and store as many different tools in it, and you can have multiple tools. Under surface paths we're going to use the triangle mesh, and pattern is going to be a roughing pattern. So for roughing it needs machining surfaces, because we can import more than one surface or solid model, so we need to choose the one that we want it to machine. In this case there is only the one, so we highlight it, press enter to accept the selection, and if we need to we can add on offsets here so that we can leave material on for a finishing cut if we need to. So the machining surfaces have been set. The heights will automatically be calculated from the machining surfaces that we've chosen. The constant depth step, let's set that up as say 5 millimeters, and the step over here can be 10 because we're using a 20 mil cutter, but it can be whatever you want. So as far as that's concerned, that will do the roughing operation, but it'll consider all the parts that it can get to internally. We want to set up a 2D containment. So in the area section here you switch 2D containment on, and then click the button, and then we can choose the containment curve. So now we can either choose them from the model or we can choose them from the objects window here. So to choose multiple items either from the model or from the list, we just hold down the control key. So having selected those buttons, we can press enter to accept, and then the tool can either be inside tool center line or tool outside. So we'll stick to tool center for the time being, and we'll leave the rest of the options as they are. So that now creates the toolpath for that roughing operation. Okay, but you may notice that it's also machined down into the cavity, the round holes that were there, because that tool is able to get into those bores. So if we want it to stop it doing that, we can either set up the heights so that it only machines from the top down to that face, or a different method of excluding areas is to use this method. So if I double click the entry in the objects window, and then we go into the area section here and use filtering, and we'll use, say, a value of 50% of the diameter of the tool. Okay, so that now stops the tool going into those bores. So as far as it goes, that's done pretty much what we expect, but there are some other things that we may like to do on this. One of the things that we haven't considered is the how the tool will approach into those roughing operations. So if we go back into the operation here and we go pardon me, to the roughing tab, we'll set the approach moves to be helical. Okay, now for the options that we've got here, automatic, so it will decide whether it needs to do a zigzag, helical, or ramping down, or you can set it to align, helical, zigzag, or it can follow the profile. But in this case, we'll just choose that we want it to have a helical approach. So to get it to use that, we need to go to the link tab here, and the first entry here is use ramp, and then within the groups we can use the ramp, between groups we can use the ramp, and between slices we can use the ramp, and between regions we can use the ramp. So you switch the ramp on and then decide what style of ramp you want. So now you can see that it's done the helical approach into all of those cavities. Okay, the last thing we need to have a look at is the slices that it's created for that. So we've given it a discrete size in the Z-axis for its step down. Now that may or may not coincide with any flat areas that it finds within the model. So to overcome that and to get it to machine right down, if we go to the operation again, and then under the depth step we use advanced tab and say machine the flatlands. So this will find any flatlands that don't coincide with, in this case, our 5mm depth step. Okay, so that's now introduced an extra toolpath right on the bottom face of that of those cutouts. Now, as far as it goes, that all looks absolutely fine. There is just one last thing that we need to consider, and that's how far it will get into these corners when it machines that out. So what it might do is, if the tool is sitting here and the tool is there, there might be a tool radius left in that corner. So to overcome that, go back to here. Then under 2D containment, instead of limiting the tool to the center of the tool, we can get the tool to go to the outside. Okay, so as you can see now, it's added on extra cuts around here to make sure that the tool clears all of those areas there. So that's how we machine that. If you wanted to use a finishing pass on there, then you could use the advanced machining, but go into wireframe and use 2-axis profiling, or you could use 2-axis floor finishing. If you'd left an amount of material on the bottom and on the sides, then this option would machine both of those. But it may just be that you just need a 2-axis profile, and to do that just use a subset of the sketches that you've got here, so that you can just machine straight lines and the internal arc. Okay, so that's how you do that.